think now that the dominoes are falling, people are becoming more educated. I think the death of George Floyd has totally sent shockwaves through people because, I mean, we've been fighting deaths in custody for 23 years. That's just my personal experience, but it has been going on a lot longer before Christopher's death. And as I say, it sent shockwaves because people hear of it, but they don't actually visibly see something like that, something so cold and callous as what happened to George Floyd at under the knees of that police officer. That was just pure murder, plain murder. There's no two ways about it. And that's something that the system is finding very hard to deny. Through all these deaths in custody, they do exactly the same thing. And I can also relate to Moira, all the delaying tactics. Some of the things that are actually happening with Grenfell at the moment are very similar to the way, what happened to me when I've been fighting for Christopher all these years. His death was on CCTV, there for all to see, dragged in totally unconscious with his trousers to his knees, just basically thrown on the floor like a sack of potatoes. You've got police officers stood about laughing, joking, and Christopher dies on the floor for all to see. And, one would have thought, just like, with George Floyd, that this was the start of the state, the state were going to do the right thing. But they will duck, they will dive, they will do anything to let these police officers off, because Britain and in America, there's absolutely nothing in place to hold the police to account. They have immunity for killing us ordinary citizens. I mean, just the other day, Donald Trump come away with, yes, well, we're good. He wrote an executive order basically saying that he was going to ban chokeholds unless a police officer's life was in danger. But that's the excuse that they've used with every single death in custody. They assassinate the character of the person that dies. He was a big black man and he was frothing at the mouth and he looked as if he was on drugs and this, that and the other, always justifying a reason for them to be able to say, well, I felt threatened for my life. I felt my life or my colleague's life was in danger, which they know they can kill you for. So I can fully understand, I can fully relate, with the tactics. With George Floyd, I couldn't get out of my bed for 2 days because it just brought everything back to me. So I just sat back and I watched the reactions of people. And it kind of shocked me just how everybody had come together. Yeah, it was like it come to a pinnacle. People had just had enough. People knew the injustice of what had happened, and they were out on the streets, and it was something that the state didn't expect. I think at the time they expected it to make it a black thing and isolate the black people, out there. But it didn't work like that. People, thousands and thousands of people all over the world have been out, and they're still out marching. You know what I mean? And they're there. Do you know what I mean? They've got the fear of this pandemic going about and everything, but they're still out there. They're out there and they're fighting. They're not giving up. And it's making Britain look at itself. They speak about pulling down these statues and that lot. Those statues of slave owners were not ordinary people. You know what I mean? It showed that showed me, all those people out there, that's the type of people that were going about in times of slavery. Yeah, these statues were the elite, and they're there, sat up there looking at over you and me, all of us. You know what I mean? And then they expect us to defend them, but it's not happening. People are pulling it down. People have had enough. People want change. And I think the only way to do it is by uniting all together. This is one thing that we have got to do. We have got to make sure that we are in unity. We cannot allow the state, you know, like, you know, the thuggeries on the street and whatsoever to divide us, because that's one thing that they've always been able to take power, because they've been able to divide us. It's got to stop. You know, there's over 1,700 people that have died in police custody, yeah? And that's raised all those issues with those people again. Those people need your support. Those people need you to go out and look at United Families and Friends website. Find out who these families are. Yeah, because it's a lonely, lonely place to be. We're lucky now because we've got Black Lives Matter who are supporting us. We met Black Lives Matter in 2016 when there was only, I think there was 2 or 3 people who'd come over from America. I met the families from United Families and Friends here. And they started a movement, and families went over to America to meet them as well. And from then on, it's just spiraled. And I think everybody that's been involved in this, you know, we should be congratulating themselves. I got asked by the press, well, do you not think it's a little bit irresponsible that they're going out there at the time of COVID? So I turned around and I said, look, I said, you've got medical staff working without PPE. Yeah, they think it's important because people are dying. You've got the police out there that think it's important. And these people that's out there now care enough, you know, to sacrifice their own health to save Black people. I think we should be congratulating everybody that stood around, you know what I mean, who's gone out and actually been on those streets and really, you know, just give it to the states, because the state now do not know what to do. They will try anything. They will try and bring Black Lives Matter down in any which way whatsoever. But we cannot allow this, yeah? This is all of our future. It could be your children. It could be your grandchildren. Even the police officers, it could be their grandchildren and whatsoever. You know what I mean? So what we're doing now, we're fighting for everybody. And I think everybody should unite. My battle's still going on 23 years later. You know, Christopher's case will show you some of the worst actions, or worst thinking. It's brought out the worst in some people, yeah? You know, to the point of hiding his body, swapping it for a 77-year-old woman, and hiding him in 6 body bags for 11 years. That happened to him because Grace and Christopher were Black. That is the only reason. You know, I didn't know these people. Yeah, but they're taking it upon themselves to dislike me and dislike my family and dislike Christopher and dislike Grace and their family. You know, basically trying to make out that they were worth nothing. Like their pain when they're grieving and crying when their loved ones are buried are more than what we would feel. Yeah. So this, you know, my battle still goes on 23 years later. There's, you know, there's things I can't really speak about at this present moment in time, but I think everybody will be shocked. So, you know what I mean? As I say, please support everybody. Let's get out there. Let's stay in unity. Do you know what I mean? Because Black Lives Matter.
Thank you